Hi, I'm Nadine Aisha Jassett, and welcome to this video from the National Library of Scotland's Fresh Ink initiative, where 10 emerging writers create and share new work on their experiences of 2020. Nazmi McCartney is a young poet from Edinburgh. She's been writing poetry since she was 13, and much of her work explores loss, loneliness, and her search for peace in the inner world. Other than writing, she enjoys collecting colourful socks and sipping green tea. I love the tender wisdom and sensitivity of Nazmi's work. Her poems move from fairy tale imagery to stark honesty to deep imagination. They carry a longing and an emotional depth that I think speak not just to the pandemic, but to the heart of those key emotions themselves. Here's Nazmi reading from her poems.
I'm Nazmi McCartney, and the title of my first piece is For the First Time in Your Life, You Feel Like a Fairy Tale Princess. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. I imagine my knight in shining armour, my ticket out of here, getting my hopes up once again before they crash back to earth. I cannot help but lament everything I may be missing. It is happening in a parallel universe, so out of my reach. My sorrow weighs heavy on my head, like my hair, and I'm so bored. Maybe I could give it a trim? I feel small, a tiny speck of dust floating alone, but I think big. I weave worlds, scenarios, dreams, travelling in my mind, a mind confined in a body too tethered to these walls to travel with me. My greatest dream is for my body to exist beyond the horizon I see from my bedroom window, but I'm sequestered to my tower indefinitely. You have become much like me. We are both forced into isolation, spending a painful amount of time looking inward and only out at the world through windows, and feeling there is no end in sight. I have my ups and my downs. It's such an effort to lift a limb, like dragging my arm through cement. It's even harder to stand up, to drag the stupid lump of bones and flesh upwards, heaving all of it out of this puddle of itself. And for what? What is there for me to do? Nothing means anything to me anymore. I'm a ghost for the rest of today, I've decided. Not a word said to anyone, not a body or soul touched. I don't exist to anyone but myself if I'm in this room alone. I'm only in people's memories. See? That's what a ghost is in the end. Small comforts. Though you have grown numb to anticipation, you wake and mumble good morning to a new day, the same day. Today you will close your eyes when you hear the seagulls cawing outside and pretend you're watching them soar over your head as your toes sink into warm, soft sand. Discover a ruined building to roam and revere as if it were a garden in bloom, and then conjure in your mind the scene that led to the empty bottles, charred wood, and burnt newspapers littering the ground. Recall the last hug you had with someone dear. Think of all the places your body pressed against theirs. Repeat the words they murmured softly in your ear, and feel the wind that rushed over you when your bodies parted. Cocoon yourself in fairy tales and universes not your own. Meet storytellers and their characters and imagine how, in another life, you might interact with them, what your place might be, how you might love and be loved, how you might be different, and how you might be the same. You tumble through your new routine until it comes time to run away to sleep. In the back of your mind, you say goodnight to the world and urge it to spin a bit faster. because you know you will wait tomorrow to relive the only day your body can still remember heaving you through, where you will return, yet again, to the same small comforts. On the back of a star. It has been 5 years since I first heard the loneliness in my heart brought to life in your song. These days, I find myself returning to it with renewed desperation. With your dulcet retelling in my ears, I float up, lifted by the opening crescendo, a familiar journey. Maddening everyday realities are temporarily blurred, and through the sepia-coloured film over my eyes, I see an image of myself that is new, and yet not. The most lost, childlike me, the me who cannot see the path ahead, who doesn't know the next time she'll be held, the me who wants to share, who wants to be known, and yet is more afraid of others than ever. With stark, searing clarity, I remember once again how fragile I am. I remember the others and realise how fragile everyone is. We are suspended in our own corners of time, waiting to plummet from an invisible security felt moments before. You remind me, though, that this feeling is cyclical and that everyone is a star unto themselves. I am a star, and I will again join up with the others to twinkle, to glitter side by side, as we brightly play off each other's lights, settling into a new rhythm. This sound and your story were delivered to me on the back of a star. It must have been. Since my world came to a halt, I find you are soothing this cardinal ache of mine anew, and I think I feel less lonely. Thank you. The unwilling companion. 3/4 of a year spent aimlessly, walking, shying away from the next ray of sunshine that will stab and ooze through my bedroom window. Before that happens, I find myself crawling at the door to another nighttime walk around the same streets. I see yesterday's or tomorrow's me across the road, swaying. Is she singing or crying? She's clutching a year's worth of diary entries to her chest. One by one, they escape from her arms to disintegrate around her, but I do not move. I'm not her friend. Gentle wind scatters the remnants of the pages across the shadow we cast together. Eventually, she lifts her head, turns her gaze to me, and winces. I cannot meet her eyes. Not now, not when I counted in the year alone, far from home. As a chorus of jovial voices rang like bells downstairs, she loomed, foreboding at the foot of the bed, while I lamented in a body unable to move. Now, as I watch her form grow shapeless and ebb into the air around me, I hope I can look her in the eye next year. Until then, we will both carry on, walking. Thank you.